includes advocacy for policy and protections that create a fair and secure society, fighting consumer fraud, and securing affordable health care. Engaging the challenge of long-term care at all levels, public policy, the marketplace, and in the individual's home and kitchen table. Fighting for consumer protection and fair utility rates. Fighting against age discrimination. Each of these makes an important contribution to health and active aging, but the financial and health security are the central pillars of our mission. Without the means to buy food, heat, transportation, or shelter, a healthy life becomes an impossibility at any age. Without reliable, affordable, accessible health care, preserving physical well-being becomes simply a matter of life. AARP works with individuals in the marketplace, at the workplace, in Congress, in courts, providing tools, information, connections, and advocacy to support health and financial security for all people over 50. We've been anticipating the aging society, and the major changes underway impact our strategy. You heard of the dynamic demographic shifts. More of us are living longer. In the United States, 10,000 of us turn 65 every day. This will continue each and every day for the next 18 years. In the last 100 years, industrialized nations have added 35 years to life expectancy. A recent UN Population Fund reports that by the year 2050, for the first time ever, there will be more people over 60 than under 50. Today, if you reach 65, you can expect to make it to 82. If you press on to 85, you can expect to see 90. Think of this. Of everyone who's ever lived to the age of 65 since the dawn of humanity, 2/3 of those people are walking on the earth today. This longevity economy is new ground. And as a global society, in all of human history, we've never been here before. Everything will change. Family life, work, recreation, economy, housing, education, business, transportation, and technology, and of course healthcare as we speak. A noted U.S. scholar said, the impact of the aging population on markets, employers, and culture cannot be overstated. Just as the baby boom flooded maternity wards, ignited school construction, and made youth the cultural icon of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, senior boom in this century will shape the 2010s, the 20s, and the 30s. While age is a huge factor, it's not the sole definition of this transformation. In yesterday's world, it was the old paradigm: school, work, retirement, relax, and enjoy the grandchildren. Today, we see people over 50 moving through more twists and turns, leaving and re-entering the workforce multiple times, returning to school in midlife or later, supporting adult children for longer periods, caring for our parents at the same time. As a society, we can choose whether to embrace and take advantage of this remarkable generation, or we can risk losing out on their tremendous potential. AARP spent more than 50 years working for the best possible life, full of dignity and purpose, for the 50-plus population. But not everybody views it the same way. It's possible to focus only on the challenges that this greater longevity presents. One of those is the risk of financial security. In the U.S., 30% of our Social Security recipients are totally dependent on that modest Social Security check. For 2 and 3 recipients, 2/3 of those folks, it's the majority of their income. In a recent AARP voter survey of people 50 to 64, it's really kind of a portrait in pessimism. 72% think they will have to delay retirement. Half don't think they'll ever be able to retire. AARP is focused on making certain that Social Security remains stable for the current generation and generations to come, for our children and our grandchildren. We have successfully at AARP opposed attempts to privatize Social Security, and we will continue to fight for the kind of system our members want and deserve. Another huge challenge to active aging is, of course, healthcare. As we've seen, an increase in chronic health conditions will dominate. In our country, 80% of older adults have one chronic condition. 50% have two. The cost of health care in our country was projected to double by the year 2020. The U.S. system is twice as expensive as every modern system in any other developed country. We're mediocre in outcomes, and by the way, our system accidentally kills about 100,000 people a year. It's unsustainable as it is. Americans in recent years spent $8,000 a person on health care. In Canada, the number is $4,800. In Germany, it's $4,200, and in France, it's $4,000. If in the U.S., on a per-cost basis, if we had those numbers, our significant debt, federal government debt, would be substantially eliminated. In our country, it's about healthcare costs. In the U.S., our healthcare faces challenges. Sometimes we refer to it as a healthcare system. That's a misnomer. A system implies an organized system that has an objective and is well managed. I call it a rugby scrum. It's bizarre, it's costly, and it's unsustainable. First, we begin with 48 million uninsured people. Then, Americans, up till a couple of years ago, could be refused health insurance or charged exorbitant rates if they had a pre-existing condition. Or, if someone with an individual policy became seriously ill, an insurance company might cancel that policy abruptly, leaving the clients uninsured and uninsurable. These are all unacceptable situations. That's why AARP sought many of the enhancements to health security that became part of the Affordable Care Act, or affectionately known by politicians as Obamacare. We seized the opportunity to address those gaps in our healthcare system, and we were successful, including free preventive services for 18 million Medicare recipients, closing the gap on prescription drug coverage, saving each senior about $800 a year so far, making sure that starting in January 2014, you can no longer be denied insurance because of a pre-existing condition, and making sure you can't lose your insurance just because you get sick. We've also ensured that 3 million young adults, those up to the age of 26, can be put on their parents' insurance policy. And this year alone, in the first year of the law, this law helped get $1 billion in insurance company rebates for nearly 13 million Americans. Each provision addresses a genuine problem. And even though President Obama has been reelected, there may be further legislative and legal challenges. You can be certain that AARP will be involved, speaking and advocating on behalf of our members. But AARP appreciates the aging population and the challenges, but we choose to focus far more heavily on the opportunities. An active, engaged, employed older population has the potential to be more an economic boom than a social burden. AARP is working at all levels of society to fulfill the potential of older Americans, reaping the benefits of their maturity, experience, and expertise. In the marketplace, we seek to harness the power of the marketplace as we encourage businesses to meet the evolving, unique, and unmet needs of those over 50. We channel the collective purchasing power of 100 million people over 50 in our country and direct it to meet the needs of those we serve. In the workplace, we work with employers to raise awareness of the benefits of attracting and retaining older workers and how to take advantage of their unique contributions. In public policy, we fought for federal law that protects individuals from age discrimination in employment, and we continue to fight in Congress and the courts to keep that law strong. We support public policies that help ensure older people can live independent lives of dignity and purpose with health and financial security. And for individuals, we work to build each person's individual capacity to preserve their own health and vitality, to help each person embrace and engage life in all of its stages, to help them build new skills for the new marketplace, to help them connect to resources and launch a business or reimagine a career, to be a resource for those who are caring for aging or ill family members, and to be a trusted source of information with activities and tools creating communities and networks of like-minded individuals to help them enjoy and enrich their lives. We've launched many initiatives to support activation. I'll give you just a couple of examples. There's AARP's Experience Corps, engaging older adult tutors to improve literacy in disadvantaged schools. The data shows that students working with Experience Corps tutors enjoy more than a 60% gain in 2 critical literacy skills. Experience Corps also dramatically benefits the older volunteers. 84% report their participation has improved their lives, increasing their motivation, knowledge, confidence, and skills. Then there's tax aid. Last year, 35,000 AARP volunteers prepared 2.5 million individual tax returns, mostly for low-income adults, free of charge, which resulted in generating $1.3 billion in refunds to those 2.5 million people. Then there's the utility campaign. State by state, in about 18 states, we fought unfair rate increases to help 18 million older Americans save about $800 million in their utility bills. Helping those we serve live through all the phases of life with dignity and respect, with harmony among generations, isn't the government's job, or just the private sector's job, or the individual's job. It's a multi-front, cross-cutting responsibility. Everybody has to be involved. We followed Ethel's mission that she set us on this journey a little over 50 years ago, helping individuals become part of an army of useful citizens, individually, collectively in their collective purchasing power, and individuals helping them find their level of happiness in what they want to do. It's about dignity and purpose. As we age, I think we all ask this question as we go forward in life, and I can tell you as we get closer to the end, the beginning becomes even more intense. Did it matter that I was here? Did I leave it better than I found it? It resides in all of us. AARP is committed to helping each and every one of the people we serve find that answer for themselves, to live in dignity and purpose, and to appreciate the work that people like you do in helping us make good public policy. Thanks for the opportunity to be here, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
We have time for questions, and we do have a couple of roving microphones, so if there are questions from the three speakers.
Good afternoon. I really enjoyed the 3 presentations. I think they were very inspiring, and it's kind of really moving. I think I should be doing more for the, for the current and the forthcoming aging society. I'm Susanna Pescopo from the University of Malta, and I'm not a public health person from the medical side. I'm from the education side. So kind of my question is, what would you see as the key health messages that I should try to put across myself and with my educator students to current young people to help them lead a healthier, more vital life later on as they start aging? That's kind of question one. And the other question was for because of AARP, are there any major stakeholders or organizations you work with? I am aware, for example, that in the US, there's the Home Economics Extension Agency, the Family Consumer Studies people who work a lot with different vulnerable groups, but also, I wouldn't say vulnerable, but different population groups. And I was wondering if you could maybe just have a comment about that. Thank you.
I think until the next question pops up, maybe Oscar and Helmut.
The message to the teachers' education would be teach those who ask you about this that living a healthy lifestyle can be fun and can be more fun than having an unhealthy and healthy lifestyle. And we have to prove that this is really the case. And by this message, that's the only one that really has an impact. That by having a health, you don't have to say, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do this. No, it can be fun doing the right thing.
I absolutely agree, but to do that, we must also become experienced in new methods to do that, you know, because the native generation, I mean, the digital native is something that we hardly understand. Because so when you speak to young people about, you know, making early prevention with correct lifestyles, they either don't understand or they don't want to understand because, of course, they want to have a lot of fun in risky behavior. So essentially, we have to learn from other words such as communication, movies, advertisement, you know, publicity, and this is something that is really even in the commercial world. I mean, traditional advertisement there is still very poor from the emotional point of view. So maybe we have to use some more emotional, you know, messages in order to achieve the target. Very good.
I probably can't add too much to that, other than in our culture, it depends on what's cool. So we have to make healthy living cool, as opposed to risky behavior cool. And I'll leave that to the image makers, but that's how people react. And we have to be realistic. In our country, we have spent hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, and we've achieved something. We can convince everybody that smoking is not good for you. You can't find anybody who thinks smoking is good. Yet, 55 million people in our country still smoke. So we have to sort of understand that kind of dynamic, but we shouldn't give up. In answer to your second question, we will work with anyone with a common agenda. We even work with Republicans. It's really remarkable. And the reason is we're about people and policies. So we seek partners in the health community, in the business community, in individuals that basically have a common agenda. And what we try to do in a nonpartisan fashion is continue conversations and relationships with everybody. Because we are, one thing I try to help us all understand is we're temporary.